Got a little sleep last night. It wasn't a great night's sleep. I have a rooftop tent on my old Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser was getting worked on, so I drove my wife's truck on this trip for the first time in a long time. Slept in my tent on the ground. So makes me thankful for that rooftop tent. They're pretty nice. Nonetheless, got a little bit of sleep. Got a little bit of breakfast in me. It's about 7 a.m. Back on the trail. Gonna do about, well, I did 16 miles yesterday. Long day, very long day. I just felt like the trail was never gonna end on the way back to the car. And I needed a cheeseburger in a bad way. Not gonna do as long of a hike today. Going to a different lake, never been. Exploring on the fly. Don't know much. Couldn't find much research on this one. Just a few things here on the internet, a few things here and there. So, should be fun. We'll see if there's any good cutthroat trout up here. Check in a little bit. The hike to this lake is supposed to be shorter, a shorter hike for the ones I typically do, I'll say. So that's good. The bad news is it's pretty much straight up. It's supposed to be very steep. So got to dig deep a little bit this morning after such a long day yesterday. But excited, hopeful, looking forward to another good day. Looks to be the final push. Pretty steep. Almost there. You can hear the outlet creek in the background, so I'm hopeful. Hopeful that there's some big trout up there. Made it to the first lake. That hike was tougher than advertised. The first third to first half of the hike was pretty brutal, honestly. But then it kind of leveled out a little bit, or at least became more manageable. Sorry, I'm swatting away the bugs. Lots of bugs. Thankfully not mosquitoes, just little gnats everywhere. And it looks like they're taking them on the surface. So I'm making a game time decision here. I hiked up a little ways to see if I could get a better glimpse of the upper lakes. They look shallow, certainly more shallow than the lower lake. It's incredibly windy up here to the point where there are times where it's hard to stand up straight with the gusts. But, you know, you gotta make choices up here sometimes. And I don't have unlimited time today. The lower lake looks like it's got a nice shelf Looks nice and deep. The upper lake's intriguing, but it's gonna have to be for another day. I'd rather spend my time fishing than hiking. There's a lot of willows. I bet that never, well, I won't say never. I bet it hardly ever gets fished. So I'd like to come back, maybe camp out up here a little lower somewhere and make the upper lake my main destination. But for today, I saw risers in the big lake. When the wind is not gusting at 50 miles an hour, I'll try to make some casts in there and see if I can get a few to rise. So caught a few so far. The wind is just brutal, and it's actually cold up here for what the forecast called for. You never know. And these drainages really are just microclimates. So a couple of drainages over yesterday, it wasn't very windy, and I was hot at 11,500 feet. Now at 11,500 feet, it's windy, and the wind is just biting cold. So I'm probably not gonna be up here too long. Maybe to catch a couple of decent sized ones and then take off. Cutthroat. Pretty. A couple of more good ones in there feeding. Let's see if we can get after them. Thankfully the wind's calmed down just a little bit. Seems like those early morning thermals were kicking up here. Maybe they're slowing down a little bit. It'll give us a little window here where I can fish and make some decent casts and catch a few. I'm trying to stay low just on the other side of this little willow bush. There are 3 or 4 good sized. Okay. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but those are wolves. Maybe coyotes. Sorry, maybe coyotes. Sounded like wolves at first. Gets the blood flowing, but I think they are coyotes. So forgive me for saying they were wolves. Startled me a little bit. It's wild up here. It is definitely wild, but it is incredible. It's always an adventure, and you never know what you're going to hear or see. Yeah, this little outlet, there's several good trout in here. This one's just continuing to feed. Wait until he's in a better position. Man, that's a good sized fish for this little outlet. It's just a good sized fish. Healthy fish. Got it? Nice one. Yeah. Looking into a few of them this morning. This is good. Nice fish. Good sized fish. Good coloring. Really interesting markings on this one. Caught about half a dozen cutthroat with this double streamer setup. They're going for the quick release. They're going for that black streamer. I had a green streamer on by itself and it didn't work. And the double streamer works. It just gets that predatory instinct going. So I've caught 4 or 5 in a row here. All, 12, 13 inches, but good fish. Back on the main trail, headed back to the truck. Caught about a dozen fish today, so not too bad. Probably 12 inches was the largest if I had to guess. Nothing huge, but hooked into some good ones. It was interesting. I started off with a dry fly, caught a couple, slowed down a bit. The wind picked up. The wind was just incredible. I've been to alpine lakes many times before. I don't think I've ever experienced wind quite like this. And I could, leaning into it. It was blowing my hat and my sunglasses off. And, so that was quite the experience. Definitely affected the fishing because it made it a little bit difficult to cast, and I had to wait for the wind to die down to get a good cast in. But if I was looking for solitude, I found it. I only saw one other person today at the lake and on the trail in general, so definitely some peace and solitude on this hike today. It's hot, really hot. I'm breaking records in town. Super hot right now. I was wearing a puffy vest up top at the lake, and now I'm just burning up in this long sleeve t-shirt. So it's been a good journey, and gotta go back to the drawing board, find some other lakes. So join me again when I explore on the fly. Love having you with me. I'm gonna go find some more trout at the next lake.